Hey everyone, Andrikats here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are diving into another expansion specific mount guide focusing on Mists of Pandaria. If you wanna learn how to obtain these delightful 12 mounts from Pandaria, stick with me and let's get started. Just right off the bat we have 4 mounts that have around 1% to drop from world bosses found in Pandaria. They actually used to have a much lower drop rate in the older expansions, but since Dragonflight it has been greatly increased. That being said, they are still considered one of the lowest drop rates in game, so you'll need to keep farming them until they finally drop. The spawn timer is roughly 15 minutes give or take, although it does vary depending on the specific boss. Just to play safe it's best to be there in 12 minutes, as I've seen them spawning a few minutes earlier on occasions, but let's take them one by one. The first mount on our list is the Heavenly Onyx Clown Serpent, which drops from the Shao Wenger. You can find him in Kunlai Summit, and as mentioned earlier, it follows a 15-minute spawn timer. On top of that, a few minutes before the rare spawns, you will notice some geysers appearing, providing you with a bit of a heads up. One advantage of most Pandaria world bosses is that you can acquire tokens, which ultimately double your chances of obtaining the mounts. In the case of this particular world boss, if you roll an Elder Charm of Good Fortune, you will receive a second try on each character. So, for example, if you have 10 ults, it means you can have 20 attempts each week, provided that you have the tokens in hand. I will explain in just a bit how you can farm these types of tokens to increase your chances further. But first, let's have a look at the remaining 3 mounts. So Galleon is the second rare, which drops the Son of Galleon's saddle. You'll find him in the Valley of the Four Winds, located in the southeastern part. While the drop chance is relatively low, you can increase your odds by bonus rolling with the Elder Charm token. A very lovely mount, which keep in mind that is a ground mount. Same goes for the following mount. The third mount that we have is the Cobalt Primordial Direhorn, a rare drop from Dansta. This dinosaur rare can be found in the northern island of Pandaria, the Isle of Giants. You can only access this island by flying, but fortunately for us, dragon riding makes the journey a lot faster these days. Like the previous world bosses, Undasta has a 1% chance to drop the mount and operates on a fast timer of 15 minutes. To potentially increase your odds of obtaining this lovely mount, you can bonus roll using the second type of token, the Mogu Rune of Fate. So the fourth and final mount dropping from a world boss is the Thundering Cobalt Clown Serpent. This majestic dragon mount drops from Nalak, a rare dragon located on the western islands of Pandaria, the Isle of Thunder. There are 2 ways to reach this island. The most common method is through the portal in Shadowpan Garrison. Unlocking the portal is quite straightforward. Just complete the quest The Storm Gathers, and depending on your faction, the quest giver differs. Verissa Windrunner is the one offering the quest for the Alliance, and for Horde is Scout Captain Elsia. Upon completing this quest, you'll unlock the 2-way portal from Shadowpan Garrison to the Isle of Thunder. Initially, it transports you to the ship, but by continuing the questline, you will unlock your faction's hub. If you prefer though, you can completely ignore the quest and just simply click on the orb each time to teleport to the shore. You don't actually have to do the whole questline on each alt, so don't worry about that. Now, the second method of traveling to the Isle of Thunder is a lesser known one, and it lies within the toy that you receive from the Storm quest. The key toy is the Sun River Beacon for Horde players and the Kirin Tor Beacon for the Alliance. To utilize it, fly to Mogushan Palace in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms and ensure you are in the older zone phase, not in the BFA one. Zidormi can assist you in changing the phase to the correct one. Once you've done that, enter the building and speak to the third NPC, Lord Walker Han, and queue up for the LFR Throne of Thunder. This action will transport you to the raid, where the toy surprisingly works, and by using the Beacon toy, you'll be ported to your faction's hub in the Isle of Thunder. Then you can freely leave the Instas group. Quite useful, right? Just head to the palace, queue up for LFR, and you are all set. It's a simple method that significantly reduces travel time. Nalak has a 1% chance to drop the Thundering Serpent, typically spawning between 12 and 15 minutes. In this case though, if you are switching between alts, it's probably best to be there around the 12 minutes mark. as Nulak usually spawns at approximately that time. And don't forget that you can also use the Mogu Rune of Fate for a bonus roll on this mount. And yeah, now that we cover all the mounts, let's discuss how to obtain the tokens. The Mogu Rune of Fate used for rolling on Nelak and Udansta can be purchased with 1000 timeless coins. The most efficient way to farming these coins is by defeating frogs on the east side of the Timeless Isle. You can gather around 5000 coins in just 5 or 6 minutes, making it a worthwhile farm. Once you've accumulated enough coins, you can purchase the Mogu token from Miss Weaver right here. And here's a tip which I think might help some of you. So the most common method of reaching the Timeless Isle is by flying, especially for Alliance players since the hub is a lot closer. However, for Horde players and any owls that haven't completed Chromie's quest, you can use the quest item from here to teleport to the Timeless Isle. Even though the item is consumed upon use, you can still abandon the quest and retake it, providing you with instant teleports to the Timeless Isle. Additionally, there is a trinket that teleports you there, but you must be honored with Emperor Xiaohao, which might not be the easiest thing to do on every single alt. When farming the frogs, you will see that they also drop another currency, the Lesser Charm of Good Fortune. As a reminder, the Xiaovenger and Galleon can be bonus rolled with the Elder Charm, which is a higher quality. The ratio is 20 Lesser Charms for 1 Elder, and you can make this exchange with Commander Loping in the Town Long Steppes. Since frog farming is already beneficial for acquiring timeless coins, it's a convenient way to farm lesser charms as well. By killing 2 birds with 1 stone, you can efficiently collect both currencies. But there are some ways to get directly Elder Charms, and thus completely eliminating the need of farming lesser charms on your alts. This can be done from killing rares and looting chests in the Isle of Thunder. Some of the rares do seem to have a chance to give up to 10 Elder Charms, so that's pretty insane. One good way to find Elder Charms is by looting the Trove of the Thunder King, which drops the Fortuitous Coffer. When opened, it yields 1 to 3 Elder Charms, so pretty good, although it seems that it is only lootable once per week. Another option is to head to the Court of Bones area of the Isles of Thunder, where you can AoE down mobs until you obtain one of the incantations, and go to the summoning spawn point and defeat them. These are also guaranteed to drop a coffer containing 1 to 3 Elder Charms. If you are willing to invest some time, consider completing the main quest in the Isle of Thunder. This questline mainly involves solo queuing for a scenario and in the end unlocks daily quests in the zone. Some of these dailies can reward the Sun River Bounty or the Arcane Trove, the Alliance equivalent, both of which contain Elder Charms. At the end of the day, you only need 2 Elder Charms and 2 Mogu Runes for each owl per week, and keep in mind that they have a cap at 20, so don't overdo the farm. When farming for Udansta on the Isle of Giants, you can also aim to collect 4 more mounts, all of which are Raptors. So let's explore how to obtain these lovely mounts. 3 of them, the Primal Green, Red or Black Raptor, can hatch from the Primal Egg. Acquiring this egg requires a bit of farming, but is not overly difficult. It has a 1% chance to drop from the dinosaur mobs on the isle, including the Devilsaurs, Direhorns and even Sky Screamers. Simply keep farming them until the egg drops. These are low-level mobs and should be easily soloable. It's important to know that the egg itself is unique, so you can only carry 1 at a time and cannot loot more. And given that, the moment you find an egg, it's best to switch to another alt and continue farming until you get a second, a third, and so on. The mount takes 3 days to hatch from the egg and is not guaranteed that you will get the color that you might be missing. So for instance, if you have the red and black raptor, it doesn't mean the egg will give you the green one. And so you might need to farm a few more eggs to ensure that you will get them all. Another obtainable mount that you can work towards at the same time by farming mobs in the isle is the Bone White Primal Raptor. This one requires farming 9,999 bones. Yes, you heard me right, not even 10,000. I mean, it's easy peasy. No, I'm kidding, obviously, it's not an easy task. It does require a lot of grinding, but luckily there is no RNG involved. The bones drop from any type of creature in the Isle of Giants, and it doesn't have to be a dinosaur-like mob. It can also drop from the Zandalari in the area. And keep in mind that the bones can also be purchased through the auction house. So if you do have a lot of gold and not the will to farm, then you have this option instead. Once you collect all the bones, take them to Kuma, located inside the cave right here, and turn them in for the quest A Mountain of Giant Dinosaur Bones. This awards you with the bone-white Primal Raptor mount, which is another lovely mount in your collection. All of these Raptor mounts are ground mounts, but they are still nice nonetheless. For the last round of mounts, let's explore the ones obtained from the raids in Pandaria. These can also be completed solo and are on a weekly lockout. That being said, if you do have alts, you can farm them multiple times each week. Each alt will give you another opportunity to farm for the mount. The first raid mount is probably my favorite one, the Astral Cloud Serpent, which drops from Mogushan Vaults. You can find the raid entrance right here, and this awesome mount drops from Elegon, the 6th boss of the raid. It can be obtained from either normal, heroic or mythic difficulty, and it has a 1% drop rate. Not the highest drop rate out there, but 1% is the most common drop chance for any raid mount. You have to clear the whole raid up to Elegon. As far as I know, there isn't any skip, but I do usually enable this option from Lord Walker Cho at the entrance. I think it makes everything a bit faster, so yeah, I usually do that. And yes, make sure to stay close to Cho, as he's the one helping you to progress the raid and activating the boss encounters. The second mount is the Kor'kron Juggernaut. This striking scorpion drops from Garrosh Hellscream in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid. It only drops in mythic difficulty, with around a 1% drop chance. Garrosh is the final boss, but luckily you only have to clear the whole raid once. Since 10.15, a skip was finally added to this raid. After clearing the whole thing and defeating Garrosh at least once on your account, you will gain access to a scroll near Lord Walker Cho at the entrance of the raid. This allows for all characters on your account direct access to the Inner Sanctum, where you basically fight Garrosh. That being said, there's still a lengthy role-playing session before he becomes attackable. However, there is a way to work around this too. Before you jump into Garrosh's arena, go back into the room behind the door and pull the first mobs you see. Take them to Garrosh, which will force him to despawn. Then kill the mobs, and after a few seconds he will spawn again, ready to be attacked. So there you go, I saved you, I don't know, maybe a minute? So the final raid we are heading is the Throne of Thunder. The entrance is close to Nalak, and as we've already covered, there are two known ways to get to Isle of Thunder. You can get there by using the portal in Shadowpan Garrison in Townlong Steps, or by queuing up for LFR Throne of Thunder and using the beacon toy. Either method works fine, but frankly I prefer the latter one because it's a lot faster. So this raid has two mount drops. The first one being the spawn of Horidon with 1.5% chance to drop from the second boss Horidon. It's a ground Direhorn mount, and I will say it's a very pretty one, even though it's only a ground one. And the second mount is the Clutch of Jikun. This one is also a flying one. It drops from Jikun, the 6th boss in the raid. Now, the raid itself is quite massive. I mean, it has 13 bosses with a lot of RP and unskippable cutscenes. But you can only go up to Jikun, which is almost like the half raid, if the only thing you are interested in farming is the mounts. The Bird mount has a slightly higher chance to drop as well, estimated at around 2%. Overall, you have better odds of getting a mount from this raid, as they are slightly buffed compared to the usual 1% that you get from the other raids. And some tips if you are not familiar with this raid. To spawn the 5th boss Megara, you need to ring the 3 bells, and here is their location. To ring each bell, you need to kill the Moku mob sitting in front of it. After you defeat this boss and head for Jikun, make sure to avoid the snails at all costs. They one-shot you and you have to start over. So yeah, just be a bit careful, not like me. The good thing about Pandaria farming is that you can combine these farms. And what I mean is, if you are going for Nalak, you can head to the Throne of Thunder afterwards, and you can even farm for the Elder Charm token. Similarly, if you are raiding Mogushan Vaults, the Isle of Giants is not far away, and as we cover, there are 5 mounts to get from there. But what I've usually been doing is parking all my characters in one specific war boss or raid until I get the mount. then I move on to the next one. However, you can always give each boss or raid a try with each alt. It's just a lot of work and a lot of traveling, which I'm not very fond of, and to be honest, I'm a bit lazy, so you can play it as you prefer. And that's all, 12 mounts to start farming whenever you have the extra time. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe and ring the bell for more content. If you also want to learn how to get the thundering Onyx Cloud Serpent from the Timeless Isle, you can check out this deep dive video that I did. There is no daily limit to how many times you can farm for it, so it's a good mount to invest some time now. Good luck with whatever you are doing, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye!